Why not come up with a football team? Why not try and do it for real? Oh! Oh my God!
So go and embarrass them now.
Some of them I won't be getting a Christmas card from.
We're back, all right?
If you want to see bad, man, you'll learn, innit?
The big team. God, man, how many more times?
When I'm at my best, yeah, I'm a whole different animal.
Good football, lad. Shout! Ow! Ow!
Scully, 5 minutes from coming on. Simple as that. It needs me involved.
Wash and Go, supporting Blood Brothers.
Get all your football news as it breaks with Football Flash.
Hello and welcome back to FanPark Live. Arsenal, courtesy of an absolutely tremendous overhead kick from Torreira. Another victory, 21 games unbeaten. We are going to be covering that and also looking at Manchester United's 4-1 victory. Yes, 4-1 victory over the might of Fulham. Remember, they only conceded 2 against top of the league Liverpool. Man United bounced back. But we are joined here by 2 Gooners. We're going to start off with Arsenal straight away on FanPark Live. We have got Devo and Adam Charles in the house. Gentlemen, how are you?
I'm good, man. Feeling good. Positive.
Good. Abs, you're capturing this, right? Top man. It's still very crackly in my ears. I've got to take these out. I don't know what's going on. It's going to fix it up.
I'm listening to you, man. I'm a soldier.
Look at that. I'm going to put it back in as well. I ain't going to be. I ain't wimping out, bruv. I ain't wimping out. Listen, boys, I'm going to jump into you first of all. Look to me, I was watching the Man United game in here and I saw snippets of the Arsenal game. Looked to be a very tough, hard-fought victory. But something that's one of those results maybe that is the difference between jumping back into that top 4 and not come the end of the season. What do you make of the game, Dev?
Definitely. I mean, we didn't play well. We didn't play, and we suffered more injuries as well, which is especially defensively in this run-up in Christmas. You're going to need players. So Mustafi hoppered out. I mean, it's not looking good in that particular sense. But as you said, hard fought. We won the game, which is the most important thing. Yeah. We didn't play at our best, but we got the 3 points. And we continue unbeaten. The confidence is still there. It didn't work with Laka and Aubameyang up front. Lacazette came off at half-time. He went back with Mkhitaryan and Iwobi. But we managed to get the goal. Torreira, my guy, little 5-foot warrior, done his thing. Overhead kick. We march on.
And from your side of view, Adam, I mean, tough game against Man United in the week, a weird game there. Of course, the tremendous performance against Spurs a week ago, and then a gritty performance from Arsenal, grinding one out. Something that, for me, hasn't been synonymous with Arsenal now for well over a decade. Yeah. You know, this is the type of game you would have drawn, maybe lost under Wenger in the last few years. How impressed were you with the level of concentration from Arsenal to maintain that belief that they could still get the 3 points right into the dying moments?
Of course, I'm very impressed. I think the video I did for you shows that I said I was expecting Arsenal to win 3, 4, 5, 1 because we can't seem to keep a clean sheet, but we got one today. But yeah, I think you're right. Fatigue set in. We played 2 very heavy metal games during the week. And yeah, I'm proud. I'm proud of the boys. We ground out a result, and if Chelsea lose today, later on, that will set us in good stead because we're above them right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you look at the game, statistically, 61, nearly 62% of the ball, 14 shots. The biggest issue you had today was of the 14 shots you had, only 2 were on target. Yeah. That, for me, that was only 4 clear-cut opportunities. You dominated the proceedings. I think you played very, very well from the bits that I saw. Listening to you boys sitting in the studio, you're up and down, can't believe it. A few hairy moments with potential penalties. Bit of diving today as well from the Arsenal. But it's interesting. I'll put this out there now for the Arsenal fans watching. This is my point of view. I don't care about you guys dive. Do you know what? I was like the biggest condemner of diving I'd come across on social media, football punditry, on the YouTube scene. But I've decided not to bother anymore, simply because Arsenal fans will moan on Wednesday that Anthony Martial died. I mean, my timeline was full of it. But today, 4 of their players dies, and I'm pretty sure most Arsenal fans stand very quiet about it. So for me, until fans start to self-condemn, I don't want to hear you moan when your team benefits through diving, because everybody has teams that die. What we're going to do, though, before we go,
what were you going to say? Jump into some calls.
Yeah.
Just one quick thing. The thing I was most impressed with today was the attitude towards defending from Socrates.
Yeah.
And I want to say that before I forget. The fact that this guy was celebrating getting goal kicks and making successful tackles is something I have never seen from an Arsenal defender. Probably from like Martin Keown back in the day.
One was Gabriel. Gabriel, when he was with us, he did that a couple of times where he won a tackle on it. So, but then he hardly ever played. So
yeah.
But I think Socrates, you could tell he loves defending.
Yep.
And he loves getting in people's face. I think he's kind of brought that attitude back where our players are now like, no, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
And it's good
and
to
that's
see.
important. And that's important to have. Abs, keep the capture going. Just send the calls through to us. Yes, keep it all running in one long. Yeah, keep it all running all together. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
My name is Shah. That's what Arsenal.
Hello, Shah. How you doing, mate?
I'm alright. How about you?
I'm very good, thank you. Hard-fought victory for Arsenal today. Great goal from Torreira. Give us your views and opinions on that match.
It was a bit of a lackluster performance, to be honest. I think you could tell the players were tired, kind of.
What was lackluster? I mean, 4 clear-cut chances, 14 attempts on goal. Your players with great energy. What was lackluster about the performance? Sorry?
Towards the end of the game, it just looked like they looked a bit knackered.
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit. Yeah, I understand that.
But again, Huddersfield are going to come into this game.
I think we missed Ozil as well.
Ozil, yeah.
Kind of a bit lacking with creativity still.
Yeah, I think because the formation he started with was different, and the link between midfield and attack was kind of lacking. So I see what you mean about Ozil. That makes sense in the first half, especially.
I mean, you don't sound particularly impressed today. You sound a little bit. I mean, you just won 21 games unbeaten. You're joint 4th with Chelsea. If Chelsea lose today, you're right. You're right behind them. You don't sound infused by that. Considering where you were as a club 6 months ago, I would be bouncing off the walls if I was an Arsenal fan right now.
No, I'm happy, but it's like I thought it'd be like more of like convincing performance, not scraping victories.
Mate, I have to be. How old are you?
17.
So you're 17. So do you really remember Arsenal's greatest season in living memory is probably the Invincible season, correct?
I watched back for all of that.
Okay. So you scraped a lot of games and a lot of victories and a lot of draws in that. Like that, for me, that is what is that. Look, forget what Man City are doing right now.
I agree with you. I mean, that's a title challenge. That title-winning team. I mean, Man City done it so many times last season with their 2-1 wins.
Exactly. I think you've got to, as much as you've had the great performances. For instance, the standout one is the North London derby victory. Those don't come every week. No. They're the moments you savour. You were going to have at least 5 or 6 games a year like today.
Where you're last on match of the day, bro.
Yep.
So it's I don't really care.
3 points is 3 points.
Let me be careful because I know Terry might use this against me. But
as if I would.
If we get a win like this and it helps propel us towards 3rd, which we're in right now, I will take that all day. I don't
3 points.
Yeah, I'm not pissed off by it. I'm just thinking like because the mood all of us fans are in, you're going to expect like a thrashing today.
Yeah, I hear that.
I'm happy, but then I think they could have done better, to be honest.
Maybe you're just a very chilled guy. You sound a little bit more unhappy than you really are, brother.
This guy, what's he?
I'm happy. Trust me.
So, yeah.
Good. Listen, appreciate your call, my man. Take care. Thank you. Cheers. More calls, please, Mr. Abadabadis. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name? Mohammed. Who do you support, mate?
Yeah. Arsenal.
Mohammed. Where are you from?
Man.
The UAE.
Yeah, okay. Your phone number's up here, and it's not one I recognise. A lot of digits. From the UAE. Tell us, look, give us your thoughts. Where the last guy on, he didn't. It seemed a little bit frustrated that Arsenal scraped a victory today. How happy were you with that performance, that defensive display, and that tenacity and grit from Arsenal to get the 3 points?
Apart from the Manchester City game, I think this was the worst performance for Arsenal under Emery.
Mm-hmm.
That's first.
Tell us
point.
why.
And
Let's delve into that. Go on.
A good note is that they won. They got the job done. Under Wenger, I'm not sure if we get this last season.
Mm-hmm.
Might have gotten a 0-0, might have even lost.
But why was it the worst? Why was it the second worst performance? What was wrong with the display today, in your opinion?
Well, it was the first game we can't count. So let's say it was the worst performance, but technically it was the second worst, in my opinion.
Why though? Tell me why.
They weren't respecting Huddersfield at all whatsoever throughout. There was no respect. They were playing with no full force in the attack, which was surprising. I mean,
Do you think it's
they were lost? I mean, apart from there's only Guendouzi, Xhaka.
What do you?
Were half decent.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, sir. I don't know what you mean, and maybe it's the fact that you haven't articulated yourself properly. But to start Lacazette and Aubameyang would show that we did respect Huddersfield. No.
Are you saying maybe that you think they felt as if the game was already won?
The players didn't respect Huddersfield, my man. They didn't respect Huddersfield. They didn't play at their best.
Do you think maybe it's a thing of...
That Lacazette had, come on. You're a 60 million, 50 million pound striker.
Yeah.
You got to get that done. You got to get that job done.
This is worrying.
Players move. Players miss chances.
Really worrying.
Players...
Aubameyang chances. Come on.
Hang on.
Two clear chances you have to get.
Two clear chances. I get that. Players miss opportunities. Your general play today, I thought, was absolutely fine. You created a lot of opportunities. You had a lot of attempts on goal. This is football. This happens at all levels of football and has happened every single season for about 120 plus years across professional football, not just in the UK, but all around the world. Strikers, the best strikers in the world. Lionel Messi, probably the most clinical goal scorer in the last 15 years. He averages a conversion rate of 16 to 17% per season, which means he scores just over 1 in 10 attempts on goal.
Yeah.
Like, you are going to miss opportunities. You've got a team like Huddersfield fighting for relegation, and they're going to make it hard for you. I think it's a little bit arrogant to just think you should roll them over because you're 20 games unbeaten.
Yeah.
Like, you're a team last year that didn't make the top 4. You know, you've grounded out this result after some great performances recently. For me, it sounds a little bit entitled.
I think, and we have to give it to Huddersfield as well. Huddersfield turned up and they had a good game as well. They didn't make it easy for us. So even if we didn't play well, you have to put some of that down to Huddersfield and the way that they played.
Their goalkeeper was immense. It was fantastic, magnificent goalkeeping by Lossell. However, we should have gotten the job done. We should have respected Huddersfield more. We should have attacked better. The players weren't at their best. Do you think Lacazette was at his best? Do you think Aubameyang was at his best?
Wasn't.
No.
But we're going to get days like that. And it's important we still got the 3 points despite that.
They do miss sitters. They have missed sitters this season.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think Aubameyang. I got
one last. Listen, we got the job done.
Yeah.
It's all good. We got 3 points. Who cares? Done.
You do.
Over.
Take care, mate. Thank you. Cheers.
I'm worried, Terry.
Why are you worried?
Because that is, as you said, arrogant. You took the words right out of my mouth. It's arrogant, it's entitled, and it's expectant of certain results and certain performances. So my worry is when it goes bad, it's not when we start to have trying times. Because remember when we lost our first 2 games on the bounce, everyone's saying, "Oh, Emery out." Some of it might have been in jest, but some people were saying it truthfully. What happens? What are these people going to do?
People need to be realistic. It's like you said, when it's going to happen. We're going to have a dip. And when we have a dip, we have to remember that we are still in transition. We've literally just come from a 25-year regime. We are now into a new one. We're not even 6 months in. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? I was listening to a podcast the other day, and there's a leading global psychologist on there, and he said that one of the biggest fears he has for this generation and following generations is this lack of ability to wait or to defer. And he talked about instant gratification and how the desire now from everybody in society to gain and experience pleasure and fulfillment without having to wait for it, without delays, without any bumps in the road. He says it's, and we're talking about sport, so often people don't like you to go too deep with it, but he said it's actually scary. He said it's actually scary that people can go from being happy, and then one little bump, one little snag, and they throw their toys out their pram. That's okay for fans to rant about football. But I worry more about these people in their general lives, because like bumps in the road happen. And sometimes I'm just like, what? Like, from where you were to where you are, if this was like the third or fourth season with Unai Emery, Arsenal for me within 2 or 3 years should be getting themselves back to challenging for titles.
Even then, I'd expect a result like this every so often.
Of course you do. People have got really, really short memories. I find it staggering. I really, really do. Any more calls for Arsenal, Abs? Let's get another Arsenal fan on, then we are going to jump the conversation to another team.
Who's that?
Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Teams?
My name is Baz.
Baz?
Yes.
Hello, Bazza. Who do you support, mate?
Arsenal.
Good. I mean, tell me you are happy with winning this game today. You're not going to be another negative Nelly, are you?
Of course I am happy. What are you talking about?
Good man. That's what I like to hear, brother. Listen, what are you happy about with today's performance? Talk to me.
I'm happy about the overall performance. Basically, we haven't got the largest squad in the Premier League. Basically, the squad we've got is getting smaller and smaller every single match. We have just got 2 tough matches, the last 2 matches against Tottenham and against United. We just played in Manchester Wednesday night, and we're playing in London Saturday afternoon. So basically, Unai Emery is trying to get solution, but sometimes it does work and sometimes it doesn't work. But the main thing, we got the win in the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got the 3 points in the end, and it was really crucial.
Mate, I could not agree with you more. I want to talk about a specific player with you. Scored a belter today. I think he's been the signing of the season in the Premier League, one of the signings of the season in European football. Lucas Torreira. Tell me your thoughts on that little pit bull in midfield.
He's the best signing in the Premier League this year. Basically, Lucas Torreira has been leading the midfield, but you can look at him and you can see how tired he is because they're playing too many matches, and we haven't got the replacement. He's like the previous call. He was saying that we disrespected Huddersfield. I don't think we have done that. We have over-respected them. He was playing 5 in the back, and he's playing with 3 holding midfield. So we actually respected them. Actually more than what they deserve. But basically, he was trying to get solution in the second half, and it didn't really work that much because we've had another 2 injuries. And basically, that wasn't helping at all. But the main thing, we got the 3 points. And we are third in the Premier League. Nobody would have expected us to be in the third position by December. So what is the negative in the match? I can't see any negativity, to be honest.
Well, the injuries.
Oh, you are? Do you know what? I got that wrong. The league I was looking at hadn't updated. I didn't look for that. Yeah, league table now sitting third. Wow, on 34 points. Phenomenal. It really is. I mean, obviously Chelsea and Tottenham have still got to play, but
when Chelsea lose, it's fine.
Yeah, look, there's
Tottenham might slip up as well. Leicester away.
Yeah, it's a tough game. I mean, did you, as you two as Arsenal fans, did you expect this level of performances and this yield of points by the middle of December?
No, nobody have expected us to be in December third in the Premier League. No. This is itself is achievement for us. You know what I mean? We're not saying like we actually, like, for us as a big team like Arsenal, should have been there every year. But for the last 2 years, we've not been even getting top 4. So for us in December to be in the 3rd position in the Premier League, I think this is an achievement. January comes, and then we're going to add a few more players, and I think we're going to take it from there, and we're going to move on. So everything is encouraging at the minute at Arsenal. So there is no point to be negative at all. You know what I mean? This type of games would have been lost last year. So full respect of Arsene Wenger, but we'd have lost that game last year. And even with Man United, when we like last year, whenever we concede a goal, we just lose the matches straight away. But now we just hold on and we carry on and we keep going and we keep fighting. And this is what type of game Huddersfield, they park the bus. And you know what I mean. And they haven't even attacked. They haven't even reached our goal. You know what I mean. So I think this is really good, and I'm really excited about Arsenal and about what's going on at Arsenal. I really full respect for Unai Emery as well.
Brilliant, mate. Really appreciate your call. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers.
Take care, man.
See you later.
See you later.
But he raises a good point about January.
Everything he said
as well. January is going to be very interesting to see if we can bring in players.
Yeah.
What kind of money have we got?
We need to.
You know, Emery's got another transfer window.
Do you know what's mad? Every time I go on any rumour mill, we are linked with literally every player.
You know why?
There's so many players that we're linked.
It's because we've always been linked with many players. We are the club that if you link players to us, interest will pop up from somewhere else. It's been that way for years.
Yeah,
it's
the media
we're
don't
that
play a
club.
part in that, but agents do a lot of that as well. Like agents will, if I was
Well,
an
if
agent
Arsenal
of a
want
player
him.
and I want to get him a move, or I want to get him a new deal, I ring a few journalists and say, yeah, these clubs have been talking to me. I can be lying. It's what they do. Yeah, they definitely do that. Listen, everyone who's tuning in on any sort of, and they're just tuning in to review the Arsenal game, please stay with us because we're going to talk a little bit now about Manchester United. They beat Fulham 4-1 today. Abs, can you capture this for us?
Hey.
So yeah, as I say, Man United beating Fulham 4-1.
What's this world turning? It's crazy.
Do you know what, right?
What's going on?
I'll say this from the top straight away as a Man United fan. We should be beating teams of Fulham standard by 2, 3, 4 goals when on a general rule when we play them. You're always going to get the odd game that you scrape past, i.e. Arsenal today. We get that. The reason I'm so happy as a Man United fan is not only did I see work rate, desire, and a great mentality from the team today. There was great football being played at times. Many attempts on goal. There seemed to be more of a coherent nature amongst the players. We had a young fullback getting forward like I haven't seen anybody do since Gary Neville. And
Ashley Young.
And Ashley Young was doing brilliant down the left-hand side today.
An old fullback as well.
Yeah, old man as well, but doing the right thing. Absolutely. I was just thoroughly impressed overall with Man United. And do you know what? This should be the way we operate standard. But we haven't been doing that. And I've kind of sat back and said, I'm going to take each game as a Man United fan, each game as it comes. I'm not going to start talking about the next 3 or 4 matches. It's, okay, the next game is going to be Liverpool. I'll review, well, other than the next Premier League game's Liverpool. I'll review that game when it happens, as opposed to... Yeah, next weekend, day before my birthday. I really...
It could be long for you.
I know, bro. I know it could. But overall today, I thought that, Delo was my man of the match. I thought Lukaku had an excellent return to the team. Yep. I thought Nemanja Matic and Herrera were brilliant in midfield. Juan Mata was amazing. Yeah, Rashford, his goal was great. Yeah. Energy from him was amazing as well. It was just a really good performance from Man United. One that I think United fans have just been waiting and hoping for something to change. Whether it's just one game, great. The fans all leave Old Trafford. The fans watching around the world, they can go home tonight, watch Match of the Day. And at least they can watch it knowing, well, my team might be on first for the first time in years. And actually it was. I mean, you boys watched some of that game as well as the Arsenal game being on here. What were your viewpoints and opinions on United's performance?
Firstly, they played really good football, which is something that you can't say about Man United for God knows how long. They played some really nice stuff. And it was like there was a freedom you saw with the fullbacks. The fullbacks were like bombing forward at every single opportunity. That is probably down to what they was told to do. So that's tactics. It's not like they just went on the pitch for, right, this is what we're going to do. You could tell from the first whistle, attack. They wanted to go at Fulham. Now, is that because Fulham are renowned for being poor defensively? Possibly. But you can only beat what's in front of you. And that's exactly what you did. 4 very good goals. The first 2 especially. Ashley Young's goal was it's like he turned back the clock 10 years. Yeah, man. It's a great goal. Second goal, offside possibly, Mata. Yep. But again, great goal. And they controlled the game from there on out. So,
Man United have played other teams down by the bottom, Southampton and Newcastle and everybody else, and really struggled. So I understand people's, there'll be some salty comments from rival fans, it's only Fulham. But United haven't blown anybody away. They haven't played well against a single team. And I want to come to you on this, Adam, because you sent me an article in the week talking about... I'll let you give an overview of it. But there's been 3 games that me and you have sat in the studio and watched together in the last few weeks with Man United. And that was Young Boys, the Arsenal game midweek, and today. And although Young Boys, it took us to the 90th minute to score, there were ample opportunities to be 2-3, 4-0 up. Yeah. The Arsenal game, 2 catastrophic mistakes let Man United down on that day. And then we have today. The first 2 games, Man United, for me, lost their tenacity, lost their energy, and lost their shape when Paul Pogba came on. And today was the first time when we've been playing well and Jose has not turned to him on the bench to come on and do anything different. And United's great energy remained throughout the course. You read that article which spoke about, Jose trying to play a different style, maybe needing to do things differently. Do you see a future for Paul Pogba at Man United when right now, when we look at it, when we look at this from the outside looking in, the 3 best performances of the season in a Man United shirt in terms of performances and results, and Pogba hasn't featured in the game.
Nah.
And they've looked better without him in recent weeks. And Man United fans moan that Jose doesn't drop the players that are in poor form and he picks the wrong people. But this is the best performance of the season. Young Boys was great. Arsenal's was a great performance. Not great result, but great performance. Do you really see a future for Paul Pogba?
The reason I think I can speak on this is because Arsenal are enduring something similar with Mesut Ozil right now. You have a very expensive player in wages and transfer fee and whatever, who doesn't seem to fit in tactically. I think the thing to remember is that you have different, or managers will have different players for different games and for different reasons and to do different things. So you have Mesut Ozil to, as you said, link the attack in smaller games like this. It would be great if you could do it in bigger games, but you know, you have Paul Pogba to turn a game round in a derby when you don't want to be embarrassed and you're playing for pride, and he helps to make you come back and you win 3-2. I think the biggest test and the biggest question is whether Mourinho has the man management skills to be able to soothe the ego of Pogba, because I think it's clear he does have one, and that's fine. I do as well.
Really?
Yeah, no. As a successful black man, listen, Pogba has an ego, and as do I. So I kind of see what he's saying, but does Mourinho have the skills necessary to soothe Pogba and say, listen, you might not be able to play every game, but there is a place for you in my team? But then as fans, are you guys going to be mature enough to say, okay, Pogba has been one of the most expensive players. I really like him. He dances well. But the sum of, what's the saying? The sum of the overall sum is greater than its parts. Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. So Pogba needs to buy into the collective before his individual merit is taking precedence.
I think if you continue to get results, say you beat Liverpool at the weekend without Pogba, and then you win your next game, it will start to become a lot easier for Mourinho to just leave Pogba out, and then people will start. But you lose that game against Liverpool, Pogba doesn't play. There's a problem. That's it.
I agree. Right now, there is that. There is that divide. I think within the team, and I think there's that divide within the dressing room and amongst the fans. What stands out as an example from history, and people, you know, I think sometimes it's not about whataboutism is very, very dangerous if you're trying to deflect from the initial subject matter. So I want to debate the Paul Pogba situation, but to draw something from history to give an example to what it could be like is United in the lead up to the 06-07 season, where they won their first league title in 4 years, when Ruud van Nistelrooy was sold to Real Madrid after having lots of problems. So he was having lots of issues with Cristiano Ronaldo and other players behind the scenes, and United were growing and they were developing, but there was a clear problem amongst a group of the players. He was sold, and most Man United, I was living in Manchester at the time, and a lot of Man United fans were unhappy. He missed the League Cup final in 2006, was sold in the summer. He was still a great goal scorer, went to Real Madrid, still carried on scoring goals. But the following season, Man United just elevated to a new level. And whether that was purely because, I don't think it was all because Van Nistelrooy went, but I think there was an element of players like Cristiano Ronaldo suddenly becoming, maybe feeling less pressure, not having somebody there that was, I mean, he does some pretty nasty stuff to Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo's dad died when he was very young, and Ronaldo was very close to Carlos Queiroz. And he used to like refer to him as like, "I'll go run to you." He used to say things, "Go run to your new daddy," and things like that, which is not nice to an 18, 19-year-old.
You know again, this is I can imagine Ruud van Nistelrooy.
But allegedly, I would say allegedly saying these things. But I think for me, when you hear those stories, maybe it wasn't quite in those words, but I think there's an element of
sentiment is there.
Element of truth there. But I also get adults in those training ground environments can do these things, and Fergie had to make a choice. Do I stand by one of the greatest goal scorers I've ever had, or do I look at this kid that could go on to be an even greater player and the whole overall squad harmony? Because again, Van Nistelrooy was a big character. Maybe not everybody in that dressing room could stand up to him, but it's the manager's job to turn around and say, actually, I think you're a bigger hindrance on this squad than you are a benefit with your goals. And we bring it back to Paul Pogba. I think he is the most talented football player that Manchester United have. I would like nothing more than to see him resolve his issues with Man United and be part of that team today. We've had some great performances with him in our team, by the way. I'm not saying there has been none with Paul Pogba. That would be a madness comment. But I just sit there and think to myself, the one thing that's looked different without him recently, it hasn't even been the style of football as such. it's been the work rate, the pressing, you know, the re-winning of the ball. It just hasn't been there when Pogba's been in the side. And I think that you said Jose's man management. That man's got Jose, if he stays on, he has got to do a better job. And I want him to do a better job, and I'll chastise him for not doing that. But equally, the players have got to also be able to draw a line under this situation and say, do you know what? I've not had... You look at the Luke Shaw situation and Anthony Martial's situation. They've had major issues with Jose, but they've been resolved, and both are now working hard and playing brilliantly. The only reason Martial weren't involved today is because he was injured. You know, seven goals in 8 games. He's definitely drawn the line. Can Paul Pogba and Jose Mourinho be man enough to, as you say, forget about their part in the sum? It's the overall conclusion that's going to be very, very important. My issue is, though, I do think one of them has got to leave.
Yeah, I think it's clear.
Right now, just what's being said, and go, I think it's more likely to be Paul Pogba than it is Jose Mourinho. I really do. Abs, thank you for capturing that, mate. Let's jump into some calls. Speak about the Man United game. Okay, we'll get the Huddersfield fan on. We've got Huddersfield. We very rarely speak to fans of other clubs, so we'll do that. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
It's Ben.
Hello, Ben. I understand you're a Huddersfield fan, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant, mate. Look, your team narrowly beaten today by a good Arsenal side. What was your overall views and opinions on your team's performance?
I think if the game was played a bit later on in the season, when we had possibly another goal-scoring threat, then I reckon it could have been. I reckon we could have got something out of that game, because we had very few chances, but the chances that we did have, like Pritchard's, I think it was in the 40th minute or something. Yeah. It was about 7 yards out, and he skied it, and I think that's something that's going to be the difference between us going up or like staying down. Going down or staying up even.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, your fans really do have an affinity with your manager since he's been there. I've listened to numerous sort of sports shows and stuff on national radio stations. And are you behind him fully as manager, even if you get relegated this season?
I think there's no better manager to do it. I mean, there's been times where we haven't been putting in the performances, and there's been big clubs. I mean, Wolfsburg were coming for him a couple of years ago, and he stayed with us. So I think it's only fair that we pay back that loyalty now. And I mean, even if we do go back down to the Championship, he's done it once. So like, what's saying that he can't do it twice at the end of the day?
And you need that continuity as well. I mean, Burnley showed that with Sean Dyche.
If we go looking for a manager now, like with Wagner, we know that we've got a manager who knows how he's playing with the team. We've invested a lot into that team, and for like a club that doesn't have like lots of money, it's good to have a team that he's built. So then we know wherever we do go, it's his style. Whereas if we bring in somebody different, we don't know if they're going to adapt to the players that he's brought in the past. Yeah. So I think we've got to stick with him.
I think what's positive for Huddersfield is the fact that from 20th to 14th. So you're looking at 7 teams. There's really 4 points between all of you. So it's or something around that. There's been a few other victories today, but there's not a massive difference around the bottom. It's not like you're sort of 10 points from safety. For me right now, it's almost, if you change your manager now,
it's crazy.
That's a huge risk.
It could work, but it could also go terribly wrong. You could be back in League One inside 2 years. You know, and we've seen that happen. We've seen that happen.
But let me just ask you, sorry.
What happens with Sunderland, like they changed the manager, and they're now they're looking to get back up to the Championship. And for a club of Sunderland who have been in the Premier League for so long and established themselves as a Premier League club, a couple of bad managers changes, and they're now in League One celebrating victories against small teams. Yeah.
So let me just ask you,
if we keep the faith with Wagner now, I think that's the most vital thing that we can do as a club.
Yeah, just to go back to today's game, there was an incident with Bellerin. I'm not sure who the player was, but it looked like it could have been given as a penalty. What did you think of that incident?
I think there could have been a few penalties in that game given a different referee. I think it's Tierney who he's called, but I think he had a really good game today. I mean, we've been shafted a few times by referees today, but like today, I think both teams have had occasions where you could say there's been a penalty here or a free kick there or a different card there, and he's performed really well and not let the pressure get to him. So he's one of them referees which it's good to see. It's a bit of fresh air in the league.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't any like bias towards the team, which in some occasion there seems to have been in the league.
Yeah.
Listen, mate.
Big up you, bro.
Thank you for coming on, and good luck for the rest of the season, mate. Cheers. Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, shout out Ben.
Yeah, mate. Really good call. Listen, everyone's tuning in. Look, numbers are dropping down because everyone's watching the Chelsea City game. We're going to got one call from a Man United fan before we end the stream.
Let's do it.
Who's it going to be? Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Have Hope's favourite caller. I support Manchester United.
How you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just a bit pissed that he's not on the show today because he was asking me the other day, what does Rashford do for United? And I think,
Rashford was phenomenal today, wasn't he?
I think he was man of the match, actually, in my opinion. So it's quite interesting.
Should I pretend to be Have Hope?
But yeah, like the Fulham game, I'm not too bothered about the score. Like I know it was 4-1. It's a while since we got 4 goals or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think the key taken from this, I mean, we should be beating Fulham anyway. Like no disrespect to them, but they're not that good right now. The main thing we took from this game is if you play Mata where he's supposed to play, you can get results, and you could see that. And also, if you play the players that will fight for the club, then you would put in a decent performance. I know it's just Fulham, and it sounds like an overreaction, but again, there's 2 games in a row where you've seen Rashford, Lingard, Herrera, and all of these other, like a few other players who actually seem like they're playing for the badge, that actually put in a performance, and no one can fault them for that. Like,
listen, mate,
if we had,
I couldn't agree with you more. And of course, look, Man United have got some very technically gifted players out there, but
Matters class, isn't it?
Yeah, of course he is, and I think you're right. Him in that role he was in today, I think is perfect for him. But on top of that, it's about want, and you could have all the ability in the world. When you don't have the mentality, when you don't really want to be there, and whether that's because you don't like the manager, you don't like the club, the weather, the food, the culture, or all of it, that to an extent that's irrelevant. The point is, if you're not willing to give your all on that football pitch, don't be there. And you say like only a few performances, and yes, we should be beating teams like Fulham, but most of last season, and this season included, we've had loads of games against teams like Fulham, and we haven't battered them. And in fact, we haven't even played well. But I go to the last 3 games we've had at home. So the Southampton game we were poor in, but I want to throw this anomaly in there for you. In the last 4 games, I think we've played well in 3 of them, and we've had 1 really good result. But there's been running, there's been pressing, there's been lots of opportunities to score. The 3 good performances have all come at home without Paul Pogba in the team. The 1 game where I thought we were awful, Pogba plays. Do you think, in your eyes as a Man United fan, I know you want it to work with Pogba because of the cost, because of the talent, but do you think he's going to continue as a Man United player? And right now, is he good enough in terms of his ability and his performances to get back in this Man United team?
Right. I've had a few thoughts on this subject. I was thinking about it while you were talking about it earlier. My issue isn't Paul Pogba's not playing, and that's what we should concentrate on when we win. I think it's also who is playing when Paul Pogba isn't playing. The players we bring in, so Ander Herrera, I feel like last season, at the end of last season, I was saying Man United's most important player for next season should be Ander Herrera, and we just didn't play him this season from start to like where we are now, and putting him into the team seems to have made a difference. And I think that's quite key. I don't think it's as much as, we take Paul Pogba out of the team and suddenly we're amazing. We put in players like Mata, we put in players like Herrera, we allow Rashford to play together with Martial and Lingard, these pressing players. And the way we play slightly changes because Herrera moves about quite a lot in the pitch. Like he's quite box to box, and that allows Matic to be a bit deeper, and that benefits the team. Whereas with Pogba, he gets forward a lot, but his back, like the way he backtracks, doesn't really suit the style that we're trying to play.
I get
so
that.
I think maybe sorry.
I get that. No, it's okay, but I think as well though, you have this situation where some people want to go on at Pogba and say, attitude, mentality, virus. Other people want to have a go at Jose, can't man manage, over the hill, dinosaur, fossil football.
I like that fossil football.
But people do realise that in the history of Man United, Arsenal, all the big clubs, both in Europe and here, Man United have signed other big players before. Especially, I know Pogba played in their academy, but he never played football in England properly at the highest level. have bought players that have just not been suited to the Premier League. Example being, I'm not saying he's as good, but Henrik Mkhitaryan. He's had 3 different managers in the Premier League and hasn't been able to replicate what he did in the Bundesliga. Shinji Kagawa was signed, smashing it for Dortmund in the Bundesliga, playing for Man United under the greatest manager in the Premier League history. Couldn't produce on a regular basis. Man United
Memphis
again,
Depay.
Memphis Depay is an example of a player. Wow, Sterling just missed a really good chance for City.
My brother.
Another great example is when Man United signed Veron. Amazing player. He went to Chelsea, didn't do it. Left the Premier League, was brilliant again.
Forlan.
So Diego Forlan. So I'm not. There could just be a situation where maybe all of us are looking into this Paul Pogba thing a little too deeply, and it's just the fact that maybe he isn't just cut out for Premier League football. And what will happen if he leaves and goes to Real Madrid and smashes it? Some people will blame Jose. Some will say, oh, he's got a better attitude now. Maybe it just, maybe it just is the fact that he personally is not suited to Premier League football. And as you say, somebody else comes in who is more sorted to it, isn't as good technically, but does a better job, because I think we all forget that it's a team sport. This isn't boxing or tennis. Maybe we're all just overlooking. Maybe we're just all overanalyzing the situation, and it's just it's cheese and jam. I like them both separately,
cheese
but
and jam sandwiches, man.
You like them together?
Yeah.
See, I'm the other way. I couldn't have cheese and jam in the same sandwich.
When I was a kid, man.
Would you put jam and cheese in the same sandwich?
Yeah. Try it.
That's nasty, bro.
Try it, man. It's nice, bro.
That ain't it.
Bro, that's like a cat barking, bro.
There's a video on YouTube of a cat barking, bro.
That's a madness.
I'll show you.
This guy is blowing my mind.
I'll show you after.
Listen, mate, I really appreciate your call. Thank you very, very much.
No worries, man.
Top man, top man. Jose, I am. Listen, I'm not going to change that. I still do. At this moment in time, I am still Jose out. But I've said each game I'll give credit where credit's due. United were brilliant. And it's interesting because I tweeted what a great performance by Jose Mourinho and his team. And the amount of tweets I've had from the Jose out brigade saying Jose doesn't kick a ball. But yet when players are missing opportunities and playing badly, it's because of Jose's bad coaching. That is Jose derangement syndrome.
Yes, it is. JDS.
And that's what people don't understand. It's
you need to get that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, you do. But
there you go.
But again, there's a lot of people out there that criticise United performances. But when we play well, they don't want. They praise the players for stepping up. Oh, they saved the manager, so they killed the manager when it went wrong.
Terry, I want to ask you a question.
Go on.
How quickly can we get this Manchester City game on the TV?
Like, we're going to end the stream now. I'm watching the game, actually. I'm kind of cool. Listen, everyone who tuned in, thank you. Smash that like button. And we are back live straight after Man City versus Chelsea. So make sure you're tuning in an hour or so's time. Take care. Good night. God bless. See you in a bit. Peace.